All right, with me now is Naghmeh Abedini. How are you, Naghmeh?
I'm doing okay. It's been a difficult few weeks, but I'm doing okay.
Well, I know it's been definitely a difficult trial for you, and a lot has transpired since the last time we spoke. And folks, Naghmeh is the spouse of Pastor Saeed Abedini. You can go to theglobaldispatch.com. If you even click the religion section, you'll see one whole section is devoted to trying to keep up with what's happening with Pastor Saeed, who is held up and jailed in Iran for his religious beliefs. Now, Naghmeh, I just want you to be able to explain the stories as we understand it, because he's been moved from the Evin prison to a different prison, which is much more dangerous. It houses much more dangerous criminals in Iran. Tell me how you even found out about this and what we know at this point.
Well, Saeed's father went to visit him on Monday 3 weeks ago, and they said he was no longer in that prison, and so he had to search around and try to figure out where he was, go to different authorities and offices, prison offices, and was finally able to find out that Saeed was in Rajaishar, which is about an hour and a half from Tehran, where he lives. And he tried to visit Saeed. They told him that visitations are on Mondays, every other Monday, and unfortunately the last few weeks he wasn't allowed to see him, and finally this Monday he was able to visit Saeed and see how he's doing. This new prison, we've talked about Evin being a horrible prison, but at least Saeed was with fellow political prisoners, lawyers, doctors, human rights advocates in Evin, but in this new prison they put him with murderers, who are on death row, rapists, and even though it was great that his father got to see him, it was very hard. It was bittersweet because he realized what a different prison it is, the security, the violence, the way that the prison was with the concrete floors and the metal bars, and it just and realizing that his son Saeed is living with those people that the guards are even afraid of. And he's every second he's in that prison is a miracle that he's alive.
Now, his father able to give you much of an update on his health? He's had a lot of different health problems, from beatings and torturing that he has endured while he's been there, and I do believe he needs some sort of medication as well, and that has been problematic as well. Correct?
Yes, his father said he looked skinnier even from Evin. He was not able to give him the medication that he was taking at Evin to help, but not really necessarily treat his internal bleedings. But he said that his health has deteriorated. He was not doing as well as he was in Evin, which was not very well either. But he was worried about his health. Saeed's been threatened with knives on a daily basis. He's seen fellow prisoners stabbed, and prisoner-to-prisoner violence is very high. And so it's just, we get to know how when his father visits, we get to know if he's alive or not. But really, he's truly been put in the lion's den and left there to. They're hoping that something would happen to him.
So the only visitation that we can hope for is that his father will be able to visit him, twice a month, be able to relay information back home here in the States as far as what's going on, as far as his health and some of the different things that are happening. That's about the best case scenario in this prison, right? I have that right? Wow.
Yes, I'm hoping there won't be another couple of weeks before he visits. I am hoping we can get him out of there as soon as possible. Iran's violated their own law by moving him there. He's a political prisoner by putting him they've exiled him to that prison, and by putting him with the murderers, he's the only political prisoner in that ward. And so they're trying to break him. They're trying to, they don't like him because he's a Christian and he's an American, and they're trying their best to break him and discipline him. And I can't even express how urgent this issue has become to get him out of there before even the next visit. But that's all we have right now is 2 visits a month to make sure for someone to see him and make sure he's still alive.
Now, efforts from a political standpoint, because there has been at least some press, at least from the White House, Secretary of State, and some other stuff. Has there been anything else new that you can tell us about that has people that have come forward and at least spoken publicly, calling for more support for you and your family? From a political standpoint, has there really been anything else new that you could share with us?
Well, we've had the Senate pass a resolution demanding for Saeed's release and release of prisoners of conscience. But, ultimately there's nuclear talks happening in the next few days. We're hoping that, before Iran and U.S. or Iran and the world come into an agreement with or a deal that, the raised Saeed's case is not only raised, but his release is demanded. Before, Iran has made a lot of promises, but just with Saeed's case, it's gotten worse. Even though our president has asked for his release, our Secretary of State John Kerry has asked for his release, European Parliament has asked for his release. There's been many countries across the world that have asked for his release, but not only Iran has shown defiance, not only have they not released him, they've made his matter worse. So, I'm hoping that the Europeans and America and all these countries that are the 5+1, the countries that are meeting with Iran, they would say release Saeed. This is that it would be a precursor to their precondition to their continuing their negotiations with Iran, because this is a human rights issue again, and it should be at the forefront of discussions, and that's what I'm hoping for in the next few days.
So folks, I want to make sure, and I really want to sum up exactly what Naghmeh is saying here too, because a lot of times I think we need to be more specific with our prayers, and here we can really pray for a very specific direction as far as praying for his release, but more specifically praying for his release during these talks. It's an opportunity for a lot of the powers that be from Iran. It's one thing when the world powers have press releases and statements and those kinds of things, but the ones that have leverage in Iran will sit down with these other figures and be able to have a negotiation, and this can hopefully be a precursor to that, so that before we even have talks, this will be something that can happen and we can see Saeed released. Now, let me go to the European Parliament and some of the other stuff. What other countries and new things have transpired that you're going to be doing over the next couple weeks to help continue to reach out to support for Saeed, as well as the bringing more attention and publicity to the treatment of Christians and prisoners there in Iran, which I think is the biggest byproduct of what you've been able to accomplish, in addition to supporting your husband?
There's as you mentioned, the European Parliament had released a resolution on Saeed's release, and prisoners of conscience and religious, especially that are held in Iran because of their religious beliefs. But also they have also recently written a letter to Catherine Ashton, who is negotiating with Iran on the nuclear, about wanting to make sure Saeed's discussed, and he is, his imprisonment and his release is demanded. So I'm hoping to I'm continuing with my efforts with the ACLJ, who've been great in leading this. My next efforts, I guess, is to continue to ask for prayer and fasting and direction, but also meeting with the Pope, possibly. I'm trying to meet with the Pope and discuss they have a good relationship with the Iranian government, and Iranian government tries to show that there is religious freedom there. I'm hoping to meet with the Pope and discuss those religious issues, a lack of religious freedom in Iran, and Saeed's issue. I continue to meet with a lot of human rights groups and work towards not only Saeed's case, but really what's happening in Iran and the Middle East with the lack of freedom for Christians, especially. It's horrific that people can't choose their religion, and becoming a Christian is considered a national security crime.
Well, I definitely think that would be amazing if you were able to meet with Pope Francis if this doesn't work out through negotiations over the next 10 to 14 days. I know the nuclear program is definitely a topic of discussion, and they're going to be sitting down on that. But if that does fall through, then that would be a great public outcry that can get behind freeing Saeed by getting the Pope's support as well. So It's fantastic news. So what else can you tell us about before we go? I know we're running up on time. Is there any other events or things that we should know about, or some of the specific?
Just that that Saeed's, case, God has really given a lot of favor, and it's become he's become the face of persecution. But really, by God's hand and grace this has happened, but I couldn't have done it without all the people praying and supporting and signing petitions. And I just ask, if every voice is counted. Not only the Christian world, but the secular world is hearing every voice that this is an important issue. And I just ask those who are listening, those who are, to continue speaking out, continue contacting your local government officials, continue to sign petitions. There's one on BeHeardProject.com. Continue to just raise awareness about this and speak out, because my voice alone does not count. I am his wife, but really I've been able to accomplish all of this, and even the Lord has used this for the gospel because of everyone who's behind me, and I appreciate that, and I ask for people to continue to raise their voice and pray, and really is an essential part of it. I ask for prayer. And I also ask that people pray for Saeed. I know he's there. It's a hard prison he's in, but I do pray that I know there's a purpose for that, and I pray for his safety, but I also pray that he would be able to accomplish what the Lord has him in there for.
Wow,
that
definitely.
The prisoners who are on death row will get to hear the gospel. They would find hope.
Right. Yeah, and that was definitely part of the testimony that came out of the horrible conditions in the Evan prison. He was able to, lead others to Christ, to be such a great role model, to be the salt and light of the earth, as Scripture commands, and we can continue to pray that. And it won't end with Saeed. There are 7 or 8 other really high-profile political prisoners. They're still in Evan prison, and Saeed's case is continuing to get worse, and we're really hopeful and prayerful that will come to an end very, very soon, not only for his well-being, but for you and your family, and for Christians around the world. So, Naghmeh, thank you so much for fitting us into your busy schedule, and we definitely will be continuing to pray and lift up you and your family, and you have a friend in us, and I just can't wait for the day that we can rejoice with Saeed's release, and and just rejoice in the Lord of what he's accomplished through all these tumultuous and horrible times. So God bless you and all of your family, and you take care until we can talk again.
Okay, thank you. God bless you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.